Did you think only cats and dogs were the only ones who could be crazy enough to save a human? Prepare to be amazed. Today, we're celebrating the unsung heroes of the animal kingdom. From the sea to your backyard, these creatures will show you that bravery knows no bounds. In June 1974, the inter-island passenger ship Sure Aloha sank about 600 miles south of Manila. A 52-year-old woman named Candelaria Villanueva was one of the lucky few to escape before the ship went down. After 2 days, the Philippine Navy launched a search and found her adrift at sea, clinging to what appeared to be a large oil drum. Sailors tossed her a lifebuoy, and as she grabbed it, the oil drum beneath her suddenly submerged. At first, the sailors thought it was just a drum, but it turned out to be a giant sea turtle. When Villanueva first found herself adrift, she noticed the sea turtle coming closer and helping her stay afloat by clinging to its shell. The turtle swam tirelessly for 2 days without eating to keep her above water. After she was rescued, the creature circled her a few times before swimming away, as if to reassure her. I'm sure the sailors will never look at oil drums the same way again. In 1971, during a cruise in the Indian Ocean, a woman named Ivan Vladislavich met with a terrible tragedy. A fire broke out, causing the ship to explode and sink. Luckily, the water wasn't freezing cold, or we might have had a second Titanic. Unfortunately, being a pleasure cruise, they were far from any major shipping lanes, meaning her chances of rescue were slim to none. To make matters worse, the waters were teeming with sharks. She would have made a tasty meal for them.
Nice.
However, luck was on her side when 3 dolphins came along. They discovered the sinking ship and came to investigate. Seeing Yvonne struggling to stay afloat, one of them swam over and carried her on its back, while the other 2 protected her from the sharks. Despite being smaller than the sharks, the dolphins were smarter and more agile. They were able to work together to fend off the sharks' attacks. They guarded her for hours until she reached a buoy, then left before a passing ship could rescue her. According to the sailors, the dolphins had traveled over 200 miles to safely deliver her. Without these kind-hearted dolphins, she definitely wouldn't have been able to survive at sea. On May 28, 1978, 4 fishermen found themselves trapped in a thick fog off the coast of Dasan Island, South Africa. It wasn't a broken engine that had them stranded, but rather the dense fog that made navigating the rocky waters too risky. Suddenly, they noticed a group of dolphins pushing and nudging their boat, forcing them to change direction. As they emerged from the fog, they saw sharp rocks jutting out of the water. The rocks only became clear as they passed by, and the fishermen realized that the dolphins had been guiding them away from the hidden dangers. The dolphins continued to push the boat in a direction only they seemed to know until they reached calmer waters. Then, as if their mission was complete, they swam away. When the fog finally cleared, the men were astonished to find themselves back where they had started that morning. It was truly magical, and although they couldn't thank the dolphins, you can help them by liking this video. Imagine this, folks. It's 2002, and Grant Dixon is out fishing off the coast of Queensland, Australia, when bam, his boat goes down. Luckily, he manages to grab a life raft, but things quickly take a turn for the worse. There he is, floating in the ocean, bleeding, surrounded by hungry sharks circling and waiting for their next meal. One shark, in particular, was giving him a hard time. But just when you think it can't get any worse, a pod of dolphins comes to the rescue. They bravely fend off the sharks and save Dixon in the nick of time. Despite escaping the jaws of the sharks, Dixon's ordeal wasn't over. He drifted at sea for 40 hours before being rescued by a passing ship. Sadly, he was the only survivor of the 3 people on board. One of his friends had tried to swim to shore and never returned. Have you ever watched The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson? In 2010, actor Dick Van Dyke revealed that he was once saved by a group of dolphins. He was asked if he ever surfed around his home in California. Dyke said he used to surf but stopped after he came close to death. He recalled that one day he was surfing when he felt sleepy, and he fell asleep on his surfboard. You know, lying on a surfboard on a calm sea is very relaxing, right? But when he woke up after a long sleep, the sea had taken him far away from land. Dyke wondered how he could swim back to shore. What's worse is that there are uninvited guests swimming around. He couldn't see clearly what creatures they were, but he could see dark shapes swimming around, like a school of sharks. But then they surfaced, and he realized they were dolphins. The dolphins pushed his board until he returned to shore. Maybe this will be the last time he sleeps like this in his life. Have you ever wondered why Japan experiences so many earthquakes and tsunamis? It's because Japan is located on the Pacific Ring of Fire, an area with a high concentration of volcanic and seismic activity. On March 11, 2011, during the devastating Tohoku earthquake and tsunami, a 12-year-old Shih Tzu named Babu proved to be a true hero, living with his 83-year-old owner, Tommy Akanuma, in a house just 200 meters from the coast in Miyako, Japan. Babu sensed something was wrong as soon as the earthquake hit. He started pacing around the room, whining loudly and wagging his tail frantically. As soon as the shaking stopped, Babu nudged Akanuma, urging her to put on her leash. Despite it being earlier than their usual walk, she agreed and took her dog outside. Just as they were leaving the house, the town's tsunami warning system started blaring, and Akanuma knew they needed to evacuate. Instead of taking their usual route, Babu pulled Akanuma towards a nearby hill. He would stop and look back at her as if urging her to hurry. They repeated this pattern until they reached the top of the hill. When they finally looked back, they saw the devastating tsunami had completely wiped out their town. A 133-foot-high wave, equivalent to a 13-story building, had destroyed everything. If it hadn't been for Babu's instinct and persistence, Akanuma would have been one of the 19,000 people who lost their lives that day. We often hear about dogs, cats, or other animals saving people. But have you ever heard of a chicken being a hero? Cluck Cluck, a hen, became a hero of a family in Wisconsin. You heard that right. When Dennis Marowska and his wife were fast asleep, Cluck Cluck, who was sleeping in the basement, woke them up at 6:15 a.m. What on earth was going on? Finding it strange that she was being so noisy so early in the morning, Dennis decided to check what was bothering her. That's when he discovered that his garage was on fire and it was spreading to the rest of the house. The smoke alarm in the garage wasn't working properly and didn't alert them to the fire. Dennis immediately woke up his wife, and they ran out of the house, narrowly escaping with their lives. They thought Cluck had escaped too, but she was left behind. Luckily, the firefighters found her alive later. The story of the friendship between Dennis and Cluck is also quite interesting. A long time ago, his neighbor had a flock of chickens and he was going to cook her because she didn't lay eggs. Dennis felt sorry for the chicken because she also had a deformed foot, and he asked his neighbor to let him keep her as a pet, and she saved his whole family's life as a thank you. Alright, after watching this video, let's check if your home's smoke alarm is still working properly. Give this video a like if it's still stable. Can you believe that animals can actually talk? It might sound like a wild idea, but it's true. And who would have thought that parrots could be such incredible communicators? Meet Willie, a mischievous Quaker parrot who not only chatters away but is also a bona fide hero. Willie was part of the Howard family in Denver, Colorado. One day in November 2008, while his human mom, Megan, was looking after her toddler, Hannah, something unexpected happened. Hannah started choking on her food and Megan was in the bathroom. That's when Willie sprang into action, with frantic flapping and loud cries of, "Mom, baby! Mom, baby!" He alerted Megan to the danger. When Megan rushed back to the room, she found Willie standing beside Hannah, whose face was turning a frightening shade of blue. Without hesitation, Megan performed the Heimlich maneuver, and thanks to Willie's quick thinking, little Hannah was saved. It turns out that parrots are incredibly intelligent creatures, second only to crows. Willie's heroic actions earned him the American Red Cross Animal Hero Award, making him the first parrot to receive such a prestigious honor. Megan later shared, "If Willie hadn't alerted me, I might not have gotten out of the bathroom in time." So, the next time you hear a parrot squawking, don't dismiss it as just silly chatter. They might be trying to tell you something important. Oklahoma City is one of the fastest-growing cities in the southern United States, boasting world-class museums and amazing parks perfect for family fun. But that's not all. This city also has a brave dog that once fought off a robber. Meet D-Boy, a rescued pit bull who had only been with his new family in Oklahoma City for 3 months. In 2008, Roberta Trawick and her family were sitting on the living room couch watching TV when an armed man broke into their home and ordered them to get on the floor. Out of nowhere, D-Boy dashed in from a nearby room to protect the Trawicks by charging at the intruder. Before D-Boy could reach the robber, he was shot 3 times, including twice in the head. But that didn't stop him. Pit bulls are known for their resilience and bravery, and D-Boy continued to charge, scaring the intruder enough to make him flee. Being shot 3 times is no small thing, though, and D-Boy was rushed to the veterinary hospital for emergency care. The vets were able to remove the bullets and save his life. They even noted that his strong skull helped him survive. What a lucky dog. He was later awarded the Human Society's People's Hero Award for his bravery. D-Boy's story quickly spread, and people came together to donate money to cover his medical bills. Thanks to their generosity, all the costs were fully paid off. So, next time, robbers better think twice before messing with a family that has a pit bull. I'm just kidding. There won't be a next time. That's all for today's animal rescue stories. Which animal do you think deserves the top prize for their heroic actions? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.